There's some pretty flowers I haven't seen, I don't believe, in my country. Either that specific shape or that color on that size flower. Here we can see that the normally horizontal platform, if you're a walkway, has sloped off here as this whole section decays to the left. There's some folks up there at that top tower. I doubt I'll decide to go all the way up there. This apparently was some little stairway that went into what looks like a room or a hallway down below here. But there was adequate space to walk up along with either side. So it'd be interesting to know what this room or whatever it is was for. And notice the stones in there as though there's an outcropping, there's an extension of that stone beyond the wall that we can see. Those would appear to be such stones, whatever they are. They look like water spouts. That would be the most logical thing, but water wouldn't be spouting, I wouldn't think, out of that wall, deep hall cavity we saw, or stairwell, or whatever it was. Some more little flowers, pretty little bluebell types. This thick vegetation gives you an idea of probably what a lot of the wall looked like, varying according to the climate or environment that it was in before they restored a lot of it. Some more Great Wall flowers. This one probably about an inch and a quarter in width. Not altogether unfamiliar. Nor this pretty yellow one, which is only about 3/4 of an inch across. And here's our little bluebells. Less than half an inch across, maybe 3/4 inches long. Here we are at that first tower, and looking across at the higher one, which doesn't look so bad from this vantage point, and the trail is more easier to climb and fun to climb than stairway. Look how that seems to narrow there. I wonder if it actually does, or if the wall's tipping in or something else is occurring. Well, we'll go give this one a try, as long as it seems as passable as the other one was. And maybe I can continue on up there and get a look over that ridge. Some more pretty flowers. Now we can see with another example what that narrow pit is for. It is a stairway that gives you access to the outside from this tower area. And even perhaps right where I'm standing right now, it was leveled off and covered this area. I don't know, I can't tell. Doesn't really look like it did. But, no, it's interesting. First time I've seen that feature on the Great Wall. Came almost to the bottom, and it's certainly steep going up through there, so we'll see what the trail's like. So here we get another view, perspective if you will, of that stairwell that goes down to an external access. And perhaps they had actually a road there that allowed them to move equipment more easily, perhaps with horse-drawn carriages. And of course there are those stones, which I don't know what function they perform. They certainly don't look like they perform any water moving function, but considerable effort, so it must have been some purpose. I've decided to climb no farther because these stones, and if there are a lot more up there, the risk increases proportionally are very slippery because they're moss covered and they're somewhat wet. So that just offers to me a little bit too much out of the way danger. Particularly since the fellow I met, Mark, who was here several years ago, came down a canyon and slipped on something similar to that and broke a bone, which required significant medical attention. I don't want to be placed in that position. In walking here, you have to keep your wits about you because that deep access to the outside, that stairwell, is right there. You're walking within a half a foot of the edge of it and you can't see it because of the foliage. Scenery is particularly pretty here because it's heavily forested, and so are the rest of the mountains around. Now, looking out this crenellated port, if you look closely right on this next ridge line, the high one, you can see one after the other of the Great Wall towers for some portion of the wall. I'm going to focus in a little bit tighter. That looks like one, maybe two, 3, 4, 5. And 6, and there are probably more, but we just can't make out their remains from here. Nifty view of the hill I didn't climb. There are the remains of that first tower I went through. And a different view of that stairwell egress area. And this is the wall we'll continue to follow to return to the regular tourist wall. The tourist part, I'll go up to that tower, then follow the Great Wall to the left, and down there past the cable building, if I wish. No, it's not the cable building, excuse me, past that, whatever that facility. Oh, it is a cable building. There's 2 cables, one there and one further over. Huh. This is a very heavy tourist area, along with Beijing. I've seen more Europeans and Americans here than anywhere else together in 3 weeks I've been here. Get another idea of the steepness of this wall, and of this terrain, most particularly. Given the size of these trees and the bushes, it's surprising that the wall hasn't been more wrecked by their roots. But apparently they are quite happy to dig down into the pounded earth rather than bust forth for some reason. I just noticed with these crenellation stones that first of all, they're not just one stone in this instance, but also they don't have that circle of any size there.
Sommige dingen houden zich veel te lang vol omdat hun spieren eenmaal meer daar ontwikkeld is dan de rest. Bij mijn buik en benen zijn
This is a big sucker here, comparatively speaking. Now here's some of these 2-part crenellation sills that does have a hole in it, so go figure. It's interesting, here is the radical slope upward and at the same time downward to the left, which you can see in the stairs. Was that original, or did they just accommodate the slope over time during the restoration?